how can you find your life's purpose? I remember asking myself that. And if I had a time machine right now and I could go back to my 12-year-old self, this is what I would say to him. I'd say, Tai, remember, the quickest way between 2 points is a straight line. Go directly towards what you want with focus. While the whole world is distracted and lost, you go directly towards it. You'll get there a lot quicker than most people. I'd also tell myself, build on your strengths. If you're an outgoing person, build around that. If you're a shy person, do things behind the scenes. Steve Jobs was shy. He built Apple behind the scenes. Mark Zuckerberg built Facebook behind the scenes. Too often we see other people's strengths. We want those to be our strengths and we say, I'm gonna do that. No, you can't build on weakness. You can only build on strength. Remember that. You can't build on your weaknesses. You can improve them a little bit so they're not so bad, but you can't build a life around them. And then I would tell myself, lastly, I'd say, remember this, you can get almost anything you want in life, but it always takes a tad bit longer than you think. In fact, in my life, I found it always takes me 1 year longer than I think.
Leads you down a path that you don't always understand, except in hindsight. So I guess in hindsight, I'm motivated by adventure. One of the things a mentor taught me is this thing that I call the 4 M's. A lot of people procrastinate. If you bump into most people I meet, I've got about 13 million social media followers now. So I get thousands of people asking me questions every day. And the most common theme, one of the most common, is how do I overcome procrastination, fear, and anxiety? My answer is like, well, you gotta know what motivates you, and different people are motivated in different ways. So the 4 M's, and I've run this by a lot of scientists. Most of them think I'm on the right track. One of them, he thinks I'm missing an M. But the first M is material things, / money. The second one is mating / romance. The third one is momentum / freedom. And the fourth one is mastery / status. If you look at any person that you know, and you break down why do they do what they do, it's one of those 4.
An idea of yours and your next door neighbor likes it, it's too late. It's too late to make money with that. Once it's accepted by the masses, it's no longer a new trend. And the only people making money from it are the people who got in early. You gotta learn to get in early. If you're cynical, if you're stubborn, if you're slow, if you're set in your ways, if you're non-adaptable, you're gonna have a hard time doubling your income. You're gonna have a hard time ever achieving real financial freedom. You're gonna be a slave to the system. You're gonna be a slave to the 9 to 5.
I did a TEDx talk and it kind of went viral, and I think the reason was I told people, if you want to do big things in life, you have to follow this thing I call the law of 33%. So you spend 33% of your time around people with less accomplishment with you. Those are people maybe you mentor, you help, right? Then you spend 33% of your time around people who are on your level. Those become your friends, people you smoke cigars with. But the last 33% is what's missing in education and society. It's where you spend 33% of your time around people 20 years ahead of you, shadowing them. A few years ago, I made a list, like everybody that you think of as great people. Some of them went to college, but I was like, what's a common thread that they all have in it? And as I went through the list, I found in the top 40 people that you could say have done big things in our time, I think 39 of them attribute a lot of their success to mentors. They don't attribute it to, oh, I took a social studies class. Oh, I memorized things in 7th grade. They attribute it as somebody who kind of held their hand and they shadowed through.
Usually the more people talk, the less they do. Not always, sometimes people talk and do. But a lot of times people use talking as an excuse to procrastinate more and more and more. And this is new. I wouldn't have told myself this a year ago. If I went back in a time machine, talked to my 12-year-old self, I'd tell him, number 1, quickest way between 2 points is a straight line, go directly for what you want. Number 2, I would say that build on strengths, not weaknesses, and don't be afraid of your weaknesses. You can always find a business partner or a friend or a spouse that you marry that can cover over your weaknesses. You build on strengths. And like I said, number 3, I'd say you can get anything that you want, but it always takes about a year or more longer than you think, so stick to it.